Good morning. Today is the 17th day of Tammuz. It is a fast day in the Jewish community, which means it's a day when we zero in on some sad things in our history, and there are a number of things that happened on this day. But the first one, probably the mother of them all, is the fact that on this day, this is the day when Moses came down the mountain from Mount Sinai with the tablets in his hand, and he saw the Jews worshiping the golden calf, and he broke the tablets. If you're familiar with the narrative, and that was a terrible thing, and it was something that shook the Jewish community. It shook the world, and ultimately the Jews asked for forgiveness and asked for a second chance, and God gave them the second tablets, and Moshe came down the mountain a second time with tablets, and that was on Yom Kippur, which is when Yom Kippur first became a day of restoration, of reconnection, of refinding one's footing. So today's day, when we look and say the tragedy of the behavior of the Jews and the tragedy of having the Ten Commandments shattered, the tablets shattered. At the same time, at the soul of what went on, the Talmud tells us that the Jews really, they were better than that. I mean, can you imagine, only 40 days before, they'd stood at Mount Sinai and had this face-to-face, palpable embrace of God hearing God's voice. And it took them 40 days to be thrown off track. One of the ways of understanding the Talmud is that, in a way, the Jewish misbehavior, although it was their choice, God guided the conditions so that it was very likely they would make this negative choice. And why would God do that? Because the receiving of the Torah would not have been complete. Our communal acceptance of Torah would not have been a wholesome acceptance of the Torah if we didn't include the idea of rehabilitation after you make a mistake. God was giving the Torah to human beings, flawed human beings, not to angels. And there are a bunch of rules and guidance, and they're all very, very special. But one of the things about people is their weaknesses, and we fall short. Not that we should be complacent about falling short. Not that we should just say, well, listen, this is me. I did something wrong. We should try to be our best selves. Still, in the reality, we'll fall short many times. So therefore, the idea of what happened that day, of the Jews making that terrible decision to worship the golden calf, and Moses responding by saying, you don't deserve this Torah, and breaking the tablets, it was also the birth of what we call teshuvah. Teshuvah is commonly translated as repentance, means return, realignment. So today we fast, and fasting is really the idea in the way fasting has its place in Jewish tradition. It's really to be able to focus and take away the distraction of our more basic needs and sensual needs. And the idea, therefore, is also to look and say, what can we do more to access this gift of God's, of the treasure of realignment? Because when we realign, when we recognize mistakes we've made, we turn them into positive things. If I made a mistake yesterday, if I was disrespectful to someone I shouldn't have been disrespectful to, and this morning not only did I think, oh, I shouldn't have done that, but I thought about it. And I focused on how I could grow from this and how I could avoid it in the future. I mean, I called the person and said, you know something, I was off. I'm really sorry about that. But if that mistake became a catalyst for growth, then in the scope of my life, that moment when I did something wrong is no longer a smudge. It's no longer a blemish. It's a shining power pack of growth. I can reach back in time and reverse the energy of a moment. If I took a negative moment and turned it into a positive one. If I took a moment of weakness and I turned it into time of growth. So I wish you all a 17th day of Tammuz today. And if you're familiar with the day, it's not just about marinating in the mistakes of the past. It's a message to us all. Think about it, whether it's on the or waiting for the day, about today. Find the strength to